surgeon. And side note, I'm about to give a little plug, but he's one of those doctors that is willing to call out a lot of the BS that you hear me talking about when it comes to healthcare, people being driven by money, controlled by money, how the pharmaceuticals, the FDA, all that stuff. So he's a member of the Baha'i faith, which is, you know, you do your own research on it. I've kind of discussed it from time to time, but it doesn't even matter. This is just something that one of their scholars was reading, and I thought it was relevant to the situation that's going on right now. So we'll listen to this. Hopefully this can get us back to the mindset of where we started the show off, more on the positive affirmations and stuff like that. Hopefully we can get to that point. I don't know, but I think this is just a good way to end it out. So
Madaniya, in The Secret of Divine Civilization, Abdu'l-Baha says that religion is the greatest and most powerful tool. And this is Abdu'l-Baha talking. He said, it's a tool. And he said,
and another thing, hold up, real quick, because I'm going to go back a little bit. I want to play a little more. I almost want to say, never mind.
Yes. Abdu'l-Baha makes that point in Madaniya, in The Secret of Divine Civilization. Abdu'l-Baha says that religion is the greatest and most powerful tool. And this is Abdu'l-Baha talking. He said, it's a tool. And he said, and if used in the wrong hands, you know, it's a powerful light, but if used in the wrong hands, it can set the place on fire. You know, and that's what we're seeing happening. You know, we're seeing people use religion as a tool. And I think my answer to you is that
religion can be a powerful light, but it can also burn down. I don't know if they said burn down the world. We'll say it, burn down everything. The same thing with culture. It's the same thing with politics. And why is it this the same thing with culture and it's the same thing with politics? Because it's really all the same now. People have compromised their morals, compromised their values, because that's really your religion, right? Just the things that you stand on, regardless of whether you're a part of Christianity, you're Jewish, you're Muslim, regardless of what you are. Even if you don't identify with those particular groups, all of a religion is a set of principles that you stand on and live by, right? So the reason why I say that it's the same thing with politics or culture, we've prioritized all these other things above religion, above our way of life, above our morals, above our principles. To the point where you got Ted Cruz saying, I'm with Israel because the Bible says that we should bless Israel, so we should show love to Netanyahu. Like, this is like the type of, like, what? Thou shalt not kill. Oh, but it's justified if you do this and that. Which one is it? Can I eat pork today and not eat pork tomorrow? Is it absolute? Like, what? I'm just trying to figure it out. Is it okay to kill here, but not to kill? Which one is it? And the more we compromise our religious integrity, our spiritual integrity, with our politics, with what's going to put food on our table or put money in our pockets, with our culture or for the culture, compromising our morals and standards for the culture. The more we do all those things, the more religion gets watered down, and the more we are going to see religion being used as something that will misguide us instead of guiding us. That's supposed to be a connection to God, right? That's what religion is supposed to be, a relationship to God. How is any of this godly? How is any of this godly? And it goes back to the same division. This is why I've been complaining for the longest about them trying to start this civil racial war in America. And it's funny, I just had a thought come to mind. Imagine if we had this same thought process when it came to somebody breaking in our house, when the example that I gave earlier. Imagine if we had this same thought process, but we looked at that person breaking in our house as one of us, as somebody that's a part of our tribe, a part of our village. Now, a lot of people would say, I'm still shooting them. You coming to my house uninvited in the middle of the night. I got family here. I got kids here. I'm still shooting that person. I'm not taking any chances. A lot of people would say that, but this may also happen. After realizing that this is somebody that belongs to your community, a member of your village, your tribe, your family, I don't think your perspective on it would be the same afterwards. You would see it as like, damn, this is weighing heavy on me. This is wrong. But because we've allowed them to divide us, now we don't look at it as like, yo, they got to figure that out over there. What's going on? Now we look at it as, oh no, I'm pro that group or I'm pro that group. But being pro that group or pro this group, apparently being pro that group doesn't justify what that group is doing. Apparently. Take a step back. Take a step back. We don't have to be in the mix. We don't have to show off our big guns and how strong we are. Sometimes, hey, this is what we're learning in life, right? It's crazy how sometimes our own individual lives can be a microcosm of what we see in overall humanity. If somebody approaches you, maybe when you're a lot younger, you may handle it in one way. But then you may be out and you got your family there. You realize this is the neighborhood that you live in. Do you really want to get into an argument with somebody that knows what neighborhood you live in, what grocery store you go to, all these, like just overall? Maybe it's just because, hey, I'm getting older. I don't want to resolve problems like maybe how I thought problems should be resolved before. Maybe you'll walk away. I would love to think that I would walk away from a situation, bro. We look at life as if like we're on some tough street shit. No, we need to, like, you get to a certain point where you have so much to lose where it's like, I'm not about to get into it with this clown. Like, I'm about to walk away. Like, all right, you got it, bro. As long as you don't put your hands on me, we good. I guess it's heroic to fight. It's heroic to have war. We don't reward and show love to the people that walk away and prevent wars. This is a tough situation that we're in. A very tough situation that we're in. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I do think that we are being misled. And this is just another example of that shows that we need to get back to get back tuned in spiritually, because this is clearly impacting a lot of us. Just think about this. People going to work today, what's going on in an area where 99% of us, or maybe even more than that, 99.9% of people have never been to this region, have never been to any of these places. But it's going to be the number one thing that we're discussing. Look what we're discussing on here. So if it's going to be discussed, it can either be magnified in one way or another. It can either compound in one direction or another along that spectrum. Either it's going to compound in a way where it's like, yeah, we going to war, we rocking with this group, or we rocking with that group. Doesn't matter. That's still the side that's promoting us going to war. Or it's going to be the people that are saying like, hold up, Paul, like, stop, man. I'm not pro this group. I'm not pro, like, yo, forget all that. It doesn't work. You think this group is a little bit more right than that group? Yo, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked? Why are we not putting more pressure on our politicians to come up with better solutions than this? Then they're just dropping bombs. Donald Trump, you're the art of the deal, right? Go make a deal, brother. This is what we voted for. Well, this is what I voted for you for. You said no more of these forever wars. And what do? We get into something that has nothing even to do with us. Donald Trump was one of the main people, has always been one of the main people calling out politicians before, presidents before him that got finessed by Netanyahu into getting into the next war, getting into that Iraq war. And what does he do? His director of national intelligence comes out 3 months ago saying that they're far away from creating a nuclear bomb. And now, fast forward, now we are where we are. And Uncompetitive brought up a good point. He also stopped the India versus Pakistan war where both have nukes. Yeah, have that same energy. And Uncompetitive wrote he also wants peace in Ukraine and Russia. Why? And here it goes. The president gave them 60 days to come to the table, but they refused and escalated threats. Is it safe to say that you're saying that this is a justified response, big bro? And let me ask you a question. How do you know the president gave them 60 days to come to the table? You believe everything that Trump says, right? The president gave them 60 days to come to the table, but they refused and escalated threats. We believe. He tweeted it. He put it on Truth Social. This is really what we're condoning? How about this? Since all these people, because a lot of these are my big bros, all of y'all super righteous people that are justifying this, I'm officially giving 60 days for everybody who wasn't indigenous to America to give up their property. I'm giving you 60 days to give up your property. If you weren't here before Europeans came over and conquered this land, I'm giving you 60 days to give up your home. Turn over your keys to somebody that had some type of, it doesn't even matter, somebody that had some type of indigenous type of background. Maybe they may have been indigenous, more indigenous than a European. I'm giving you 60 days to come to the table. And now what's the response? Hold on. So now my big bro wrote, I believe. So you started off saying, hold on, let me be clear. You started off saying that our government, hold on. I just want to make sure that we're looking at these in the proper order. You started off saying that the president gave them 60 days to come to the table, but they refused and escalated threats. Then when I pressed you a little bit on it, you said these things. Our government or any other government will never share all they know. The real truth is always too deep for us to know. That's my opinion. So why did you just start off saying a statement as if it's a fact, but then say that, well, we don't really know what they're sharing with us. They're really only going to share stuff with us that we want to know. Let's take a step back. Are y'all familiar with Barack put in play with the propaganda? What's the, hold on. What policy did Barack Obama put in play regarding propaganda being used against Americans? Hold on. It's a two-name thing. I forget what it's called. The Smith-Munn Modernization Act. Are we familiar with that? That pretty much allows the government to feed us propaganda. It used to be legal for the US to feed propaganda to other countries. What Barack Obama signed into play now makes it legal for them to feed us propaganda. So you started off making a statement, and this is what I mean. Now, I'm not calling you out and saying you're a bad person. But when you make a statement saying that the president gave them 60 days to come to the table, but they refused and escalated threats, what the majority of us are going to see that as, oh, that's a reason and a justification for what's going on. It's Iran's fault. We dictate the terms. It's Iran's fault. So therefore, no, we should be dropping bombs on them. Now you'll say, well, I didn't say we were going to drop bombs. Well, what are you saying? Then when I press you a bit, you say our government or any other government will never share all they know. The real truth is always too deep for us to know. That's my opinion. So if that's your opinion, why did you make a statement like it's a fact? And if that truly is your opinion, that we don't know what the government is sharing with us, why can't we focus on principles? This is why I started off the show saying facts don't matter in these situations. Because they can always present a video here that shows what the Israeli soldiers are doing to the Palestinians, or show here what the Palestinians are doing to the Israeli hostages. They can always show us these things. They pick and choose what they show us. Now is the time where they can control what they show us the most. Didn't we hear what happened with 2020 with Mark Zuckerberg saying that the Biden-Harris administration was controlling the things that they were allowing to be posted on their platforms on Meta? Why can't we just sit back and say, hey, this is wrong. We need peace. This is wrong. We need peace. Because it's just so funny how all the morals and everything else comes to play when we're looking to justify something over there. We're going to justify Israel and Palestinians. Let's not even talk about Israel. We're going to justify Palestinians having their homes taken from them. We're going to justify that. That's okay. And then we're going to live in America. We're going to live in America, right? Where we know what has happened with the land that we're living on right here. So the same people that took, So Honest wrote, I believe that Iran remarked about the timeline and refused. You notice how the first one comes across as a strong statement. Then everything else is, well, I believe, or our government's never going to show us all the information. You see what's happening here? I get what you're saying. Both countries acknowledge the 60 days. How do you know? Let me ask you, how do you know what happened in those negotiations? And what even gives America the right to dictate terms in this situation? I'm just asking. Because it's real funny how these 60 days coincide with, wasn't it the day after the 60 days? That's when Israel did a strike. Yo. He wrote, based on Iran's response in the media, they clearly knew that there was a 60-day timeline. I'm realizing right now how slavery happened. I am 100% realizing more and more how so many, like I used to sit back and think like, damn, how could people be okay with just enslaving people? Then you realize like, oh, that was happening all over the world. Okay. But still, how could you do that? How could it have happened here? So because this 60-day timeline was reached, I guess we're going to ignore the national intelligence that Tulsi Gabbard put out saying that they're far away from making a nuclear B word. So I guess that 61st day was so critical that the right thing to do was to strike. That's what we're saying. Yeah. They were surprised. I'm surprised that all these people, y'all must be, are y'all part of Israel intelligence or something? They were all supposed to be negotiating the Sunday before Israel attacked them, though. Shaking my head. Let me ask y'all this. Have y'all ever been in a negotiation where, you know what else? Hold on. This is where I'm gonna call BS on a lot of this. Wasn't there a negotiation where this is what I heard? So I'm gonna preface it. I'm not gonna say it as a statement like some people do. This is what I heard, just based on, like I said, who knows if it's true or not. That there was a deal that Hamas, and like I said, I got to look into this, but something I heard, and I'll never know if it's true or not, right? That Hamas was willing to negotiate with Israel once Israel threatened to go into Gaza or the West Bank or something like that. And they were going to give back the hostages or something like that. And it kind of makes sense because when you think about the hostage situation, Donald Trump went separate from Israel. Remember when he wasn't really communicating with Israel? He had a trip over there, didn't visit Israel, shut off his communications with Israel, and decided to negotiate for that American, the last American that was over there on just behalf of America, not involving Israel. Sometimes people will negotiate and bring a deal to the table that they know the other person is not going to take, just to simply justify doing something like we're seeing. And it seems like this has been like a reoccurring theme. And to me, a lot of people would say, well, you don't know if that's true. Okay. When there's a track record of these type of things happening, and there's a track record of Netanyahu either lying or being wrong, just like he just lied, and Ted Cruz said that he misspoke when he tried to convince the American people to get behind Israel by saying that Iran was behind two attacks. But now, so he misspoke there, but we'll believe everything else that he says. Okay. He was wrong about the weapons of mass destruction, but we'll believe everything now that he has to say. Okay. Is it just me, or does it seem like Netanyahu is doing certain things and telling us one thing, but it actually has a different agenda? And he just uses us as the bully. And I know they like to say big Satan, little Satan. In my opinion, that's just all a finesse. One thing's clear to me, that it seems to me that I don't believe that America's running America. It seems to me that Netanyahu has a huge influence on America. And Unc wrote Muammar Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, the list does go on. The list does go on. Of all these things that we're told that when later on we find out that they weren't true, or they said that we needed to get rid of Gaddafi for these reasons, but then we find out, oh, it's because he just wanted his independence. Or it had nothing to do with it. It had something to do with oil. Or George Bush was just trying to revenge some shit that happened with his dad. The only stance I'm taking is I'm not siding with anything. There needs to be peace in America, in my opinion. I hate the fact that we're contributing more to the violence rather than coming up with a solution. Now, people could sit here and say, oh, they had 60 days. Oh, so because they had 60 days to negotiate, now we're going to justify, right? Because that's the word that seems to come up. We're going to justify let's just start the next war. I'm yo. You know what bothers me the most is y'all know how I am when it comes to black people playing victims. And this going back to that same situation. I have a lot of convos with like I say the same thing to no matter who I'm talking to. There's a lot of white people, and I hate to just say it like that, but it is what it is, who agree with my stance that black people are embracing victimhood too much. But for some reason, the energy seems to shift when it comes to this situation, where we can't see the victimhood that Netanyahu is playing and has been playing for a real long time. I'm gonna leave it here. And anybody who, feel free to reach out to me after the show, during the show, whenever. Y'all know how, like, we don't have to have the combo on camera. We can have it off camera. We can, whatever y'all prefer. Whatever y'all prefer. Damn. And some of y'all are Christians. This to me don't seem Christ-like. I'm gonna be honest, man. Wasn't Christ willing to sacrifice his own? Never mind. Yeah, I'm a run. Yo, this is what we'll do. We'll do our 45 seconds. You take it however you need to take it. Starting now. All right. You know why I started off today with the manifesting? You know, and I keep focusing on this religious aspect. This is why I think people are full of shit when it comes to religion. I'm being totally honest. I think you're full of shit. And I'm not talking about anybody in particular. But a lot of people claim to be religious. They claim to be righteous. They claim to be spiritual, morally sound. Wouldn't it have been amazing where instead of, you know, after we bomb Iran's nuclear facilities or after just what's going on in Israel striking, wouldn't it have been nice if instead of, like my boy Chris said, with everybody getting amped up to now go to war with Iran, is if the next day, which was a holy day, right? It's supposed to be a Sunday, a holy day, right? Saturday and Sundays, those are the holy days, right? Wouldn't it have been nice to start off the day with a prayer? With people coming together, people meditating. People asking for peace, putting peaceful energy out there instead of I'm pro this, I'm pro that. They should have figured it out in 60 days. Wouldn't it have been like, I'm not religious. I thought like I'm not religious. This is why I just don't take religion seriously. I'll be totally honest. This is why I never take religion, like a lot of these religious folks, seriously. I never do. I just don't. Because in the situations that we're challenged the most, when I look at it, it's always never using the religious principles in order to bring about peace, in order to achieve a more godly state in whatever situation it is. Did we wake up praying for everybody, or did we just say that, hey, I'm praying for peace? This is why I started off the show that way. Y'all know we come here to do elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint as well as elevating our standards in order to become the best leaders we can become, which are needed now more than ever. Okay. Because I always say that, but maybe it just hits a little different today. Do we need leaders to be pro this or pro that? Or do we need leaders to figure out, hey, this is some BS. We've fallen for this trick before. Now it looks like we're about to fall for it again. Any death is wrong. Especially when you look at the amount of deaths that have occurred and the destruction that has occurred in this recent and ongoing situation. I thought that's what godly leadership was supposed to be about. I really thought that. Onward and upward, strength and honor. Y'all get to the bag, decide what's important for you to make sure that you're aligned with your purpose, your personal legend that we always talk about, the impact that you're going to make on the world as we strive for purposeful abundance. Purpose, purpose, purpose. Perhaps that word means a lot more now. What is the purpose of the things that I'm saying? What is it going to lead to? What is the impact that it's going to make? Perspective, right? I got a show with my big bro called Two Peas on a Pod, Perspective and Perseverance. We talk all the time about how important perspective is. We don't know anything what's going on here. We don't know. There's no facts that we're aware of. We know what we're being told. We know what we're being shown. But that should not prevent us or sway us from standing on the principles that our godly religion is supposed to teach us, right? Our unique connection to God. That's what our religious journey is supposed to be. Do we think that God is okay with any of this? And if God is okay with any of this, then perhaps a lot of what I hear people saying about certain groups being the chosen people, maybe that is true. Maybe God likes certain people more than others. I don't know. But I thought that we were just under this umbrella altogether, just humanity. I don't know. And as big bro, big bro, I don't know if you were on earlier, but we talked about you. I didn't even know you were tapping on. But big bro just wrote, better to be killed than to kill. This is who I respect. This is my big bro that I was just telling y'all about. This is the type of faith that I would get behind. It's better to be killed than to kill. A lot of people may look at that and say, yo, that's crazy. That's wild. But for all the Christians, didn't your Lord and Savior believe that as well? Isn't what he just said Christ-like? Better to be killed than to kill? So why are all these Christians, so-called Christians, it seems like to me, leaning in a different direction? Your Christ thought that it was better to be killed than to kill, right? Unless I'm mistaken. I don't know the ins and outs. I've never read the entire Bible, but let's be honest. 99% of y'all Christians haven't either. I appreciate you, big bro, for having this. I appreciate you so much for sharing this, because that's what takes courage. Courage is not dropping drone bombs or bombs on somebody and us talking shit from the United States while people are dying in other areas. But because it doesn't touch us, that's not courage. According to, hold on. And this is not according to me. This is according to who you pledge your life to as your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, right? That's why we celebrate him for this. Wasn't this a key principle in his story? But I know you can come up with probably 100 other scriptures or passages that you can interpret to mean otherwise. So on that note, I pray for peace. I pray for clarity and empathy in this situation, and us standing on principles that bring us together rather than standing on principles that further divide us. That's all I got. Steve wrote, represent the change you want to see in the world. Simple as that. And I hope y'all see that that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do. I would not have thought like this probably a few years ago, I don't think. But this is how I want to evolve into. This is what I want to evolve into. This is what I think it would be a better place if the world evolved into. So like Queez always says, and like Steve just said, be the change. I'll see y'all soon. And yeah, we'll be tapping in every day this week. Shout out to Anthony's. But tomorrow, we're actually, the reason why all this stuff is off the wall, we're driving it down to Miami. So I don't know exactly what time I'll be able to tap in with y'all, but I'll make sure that I will. Anthony, or Unc wrote, and may God be pleased with you. I appreciate it, Unc. I'll see y'all soon. Ew.